The evening air was thick with whispers of an uprising, whispers that spoke of Giuseppe Garibaldi and his plans to liberate Sicily from Bourbon rule. As twilight draped the Sicilian town of Alia, Angelo, aged 17, walked alongside his 14-year-old brother, Gioacchino. Gioacchino, with the fervor of adolescence, broke the silence. Angelo, think of it. Garibaldi could be our chance to break free from these chains. We could be part of something great, something that changes Sicily forever. Angelo, 3 years his senior, carried a more measured tone, shaped by the additional years of witnessing the unyielding ways of their world. Gioacchino, our family has lived in Alia for generations. Our lives, like these ancient streets, have seen rulers come and go, yet our daily struggles remain the same. But isn't this different? Isn't Garibaldi's cause worth fighting for? Gioacchino's eyes were alight with the possibility of change, a stark contrast to the cautious resignation in Angelo's. Change, especially the kind that comes with revolution, is a double-edged sword. Angelo replied, his gaze fixed on the cobblestone path beneath their feet. Yes, Garibaldi speaks of freedom, but at what cost? Our father and mother, they've weathered many storms. We must consider what another upheaval could mean for them, for all of us. Gioacchino's stride slowed, his enthusiasm dampened by the weight of his brother's words. I just wish we could live in a Sicily where being free isn't just a dream, he said quietly. Angelo studied his eager brother as they walked. He knew the yearning for liberty's dawn. But at 17, Angelo carried the weight of duty to provide for their aging parents. Gioacchino quieted, but Angelo sensed the argument was not finished. For better or worse, the winds of change yet again whistled through Sicily. But roots ran deep in this ancient land. Time would tell what destiny held for the brothers, tied by blood but divided by dreams. Angelo carried his name as both a privilege and a burden. He was called Angelo in homage to his grandfather, Arcangelo, upholding a long tradition of Sicilians naming grandsons after patriarchs. His grandfather had been a living bridge to Sicily's feudal past, when Spanish nobility influenced all aspects of life on the island. Angelo felt the weight of this grand name resting upon his shoulders. At times, he wondered if he could ever live up to the legacy of his forefathers. In contrast, Angelo's prospects seemed modest, to follow in his father's newfound trade as a tinsmith. Yet Angelo also drew strength and resilience from the unbroken chain of generations past. His family name was woven into the very fabric of Sicilian history, weathering cycles of turmoil and change. His ancestors had seen the rise and fall of noble houses, revolution and restoration. Through it all, they persevered, a testament to the deep roots and enduring spirit of Sicily and its people. When doubt crept in, Angelo remembered he belonged to something greater. His family had already overcome so much. Whatever destiny had in store for him and his, he must face it with courage. One day, another Angelo might carry on the name and legacy his grandfather would leave behind. Angelo's story, interlaced with the history of his family and the legacy of Alia, unfolds like a narrative from another era. It's a journey through a world where history is alive in every stone and every prayer to Santa Rosalia. In Angelo's life, the past and present merge, as enigmatic and enduring as the Grotte della Gorfa themselves, a symbol of the enduring spirit of Alia and its people. The marriage of Angelo's parents Giuseppe Sebastian and Concetta Maria, on July 25, 1838, in Alia, Sicily, was a significant event, blending history and tradition in the close-knit community. Giuseppe, born on January 20, 1816 in Alia, was the son of Arcangelo and Maria Giuseppa, and he inherited the tile-making craft, a respected profession in Sicily. Concetta, born August 29, 1818, also in Alia, was the daughter of Gioacchino and Cristina. Angelo and Concetta likely named their own Gioacchino after her father. Their wedding symbolized the deep-rooted religious and social customs of Alia, a culture that valued the sanctity of familial bonds and community ties. The meticulous investigation of their baptisms prior to their marriage reflects the era's emphasis on faith intertwined with everyday life, a testament to the couple's adherence to tradition and respect for their heritage. Their union was not just the coming together of two individuals, but a continuation of familial legacies, weaving together the stories and skills of previous generations. Their lives, much like the tiles Giuseppe crafted, were molded by the hands of tradition, faith, and a deep connection to the land they called home. As parents of Angelo and his siblings, Giuseppe and Concetta nurtured a family that was a microcosm of Sicilian society, grounded in the values and customs that had defined the region for centuries. Angelo's father Giuseppe carried on another family tradition, tile making. For generations, their men had shaped clay, dug from the Sicilian soil, into beautiful tiles that grace the floors and walls of homes across the island. Giuseppe learned the craft from his own father, and had hoped to one day pass the knowledge to his son. But hardship changed Giuseppe's path. Droughts made clay difficult to obtain, and demand for tiles declined as people struggled to survive. To provide for his new family, Giuseppe turned to other work. He used his skill with materials to make leather bags, clay jars for water, and handcrafted maps for merchants. Though he adapted, Giuseppe felt the loss of his family's age-old craft. Working with clay had connected him to Sicily itself, its very ground and origins. Without this anchor, he felt adrift. Giuseppe took pride in supporting his wife Concetta and son Angelo, but part of his identity had been entwined with the art of tile making, now painfully surrendered to memory. Angelo, born into a humbler station, made his way as a blacksmith, but he too felt the land call his name. Working metal was honest labor, yet did not speak to his spirit as deeply as the bounty of the fields and orchards. In quiet moments, Angelo dreamed of claiming his own fertile patch of Sicilian soil. With his hands, he would transform dust to diamonds, and finally work the land that his ancestors had known since antiquity. Though today he still practiced a trade inherited from his forefathers, tomorrow could bring new possibilities. Secretly, Angelo harbored a desire to return to the land, to feel the soil beneath his fingertips and cultivate the earth as he had seen done by landowners in the area. This yearning was more than a mere wish to change professions. It was a deep-seated longing to reconnect with the land that had nurtured his family for generations. Angelo's dream of working the land was not just about tilling the soil. It was about reclaiming a sense of identity and heritage that seemed to be slipping away with each generation. In his heart, he longed to revive the connection to the earth that his father had lost, to rekindle a legacy that went beyond mere occupation and spoke to the very essence of being a Sicilian. The story of this family, thus, was one of adaptation and change, of holding on to traditions while navigating the uncharted waters of a changing world. It was about the struggle to maintain a sense of self in the face of inevitable transformation, and the quiet, internal battles fought to preserve a legacy that was as much about family and heritage as it was about the land itself. The family gathered around the worn wooden table for their evening meal. Concetta Maria brought heaping plates of pasta smothered in a hearty meat sauce. "Eat up, my loves," she urged as she took her seat. Despite the day's tensions, an air of familiar comfort settled over them. Young Gioacchino regaled his grandmother Maria Giuseppa with a dramatic retelling of the mishaps of his friend Nico from earlier that day, making her chuckle. Maria Giuseppa had come to live with them after the passing of her husband Arcangelo in 1851. Though she missed her husband dearly, she found solace in being surrounded by family each day. "Do you remember when your father would come home covered in clay from the tile shop?" Maria Giuseppa asked her son Giuseppe wistfully. Giuseppe smiled sadly and nodded, the loss of his family trade still tender. Someday, I will buy you your own land to farm, my Angelo, Concetta declared proudly, patting her eldest son's hand. Angelo grinned at the prospect. The conversation ebbed and flowed from light-hearted tales to nostalgic reminiscences. No matter the outside turmoil, within these walls they savored the simple joys of family. There was comfort in their routines, rich with love. Angelo looked around the table, taking in each beloved face. However Sicily's political winds blew, nothing could shake the foundations of this home, where generations kept their culture alive through food, faith, and family. Come what may, they would face it together, resilient as olive trees with roots grown strong and deep. Thank you so much for listening to this family tree saga. We know your time is precious. Look for more at familytreesagas.com.